The job market is really changing. A lot of people are finding it challenging at the moment out there to find their next job, be it a contract role, be it a perm role. Things are looking different than they were at the beginning of the year. So that means we all need to do different things to make sure that you are the top candidate for the role. So Alina and I just want to get into some real practical things that you can do right now to level up your job search and make sure that you are that top candidate. So Alina, what are you thinking about this current job market?
Yeah, the market has been really difficult, and I think that's for both permanent and contractors. It's taking everybody a lot longer to find a role that meets their needs and specifications than it has, I think, in the long while. Consultants are talking about the fact that they're having longer gaps in between roles. People who are looking for permanent roles are saying it's taking them longer to get interviews. And obviously there's more people on the market, so that's really important while we're having this discussion in terms of, the best ways to make yourself stand out as a candidate through all the different stages of getting that job.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's now more important than ever to work on your mindset, because the facts are the facts in that it is more challenging to get a role right now. But the fact also is that people are getting jobs. So it's important to how you are taking in that news of, you see the headlines of, oh, it's so hard to get a job, people aren't getting a jobs. How you internalize that is very, very important. And what you're doing to keep your mind right as you continue on your job search, it's never been more important.
Yeah.
Now, before we go more into mindset things, what are the practical things that people can do right now to improve their job search? So we don't want to talk about LinkedIn profiles. We don't want to talk about keywords on your CV. What else is there?
So I think it's reviewing your CV, not necessarily for keywords, but can you reframe some of what you've done? And I spoke to you with regards to an example of someone who had done some work experience for an organisation, and they reframed that as consultancy. And it's about how you put the experience on your CV. We don't want to lie about things.
Yeah.
But there is a different way of reframing things so that it's more positive.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Is there anything else you would agree with?
No, I think that's a really good one about how you put things on your CV. So taking that a step further, making sure that you're being extremely relevant. So on your CV, have you really looked at the job that you're going for? Do a little bit of analysis on the role. Use one of the free word cloud apps or websites. Put it in there. See what is the reoccurring words that are coming out. So if they're mentioning a particular software over and over again, look in your CV. Is it there, and how is it there? So I think we're past the stage where you should just be listing things. You definitely want to be weaving it into your CV in terms of achievements, not just responsibilities. So you do the word cloud, you see these 5 words that are repeating over and over in that job spec. How have you put them into your CV, in a way that, yes, it's going to stand out? Not just that, let's say in the tech skills bit, you've just made sure that you've listed them all. Instead, you want to, throughout your CV, talk about how you actually did that thing or had a result doing that thing or using that thing.
Yeah. And just to add to that, it needs to be, like you say, appropriate and relevant. There was a CV I was reviewing the other day, and there was a certain tool they'd used, but they'd used it in a manner that wasn't common in the industry. So, for example, say if it was a ITSM tool, they'd use it in a CRM capacity, and it's about just making sure it's relevant to that job description, and making sure it's relevant to what it is that you want to do or what it is that they're asking you for. So, if they are asking you for CRM skills, and it's a well-known software for or tool for something else, put it in the right context.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. Because you don't look slapdash that way, and you are
Mm.
making yourself more believable. And just talking about not looking slapdash, that means you need to be really organized. There's tools out there that can help you organize yourself. There's one called Teal, but you don't have to go for a tool. You can spin out a spreadsheet for yourself, or use something that you already have like Trello to basically line up the job you've applied for, what CV you've used, what cover letter you've used, so that you have everything all up there, you're consistent, and then when it comes to interview you can refer back to all that information and make sure that you're presenting yourself consistently.
And just to add to that, if you're an interim, also make sure you add on the name of the consultancy and the agency that you've gone through, because as an interim, you'll have multiple agencies asking you about various jobs. And then when you do get the interviews, sort of trying to remember, okay, was that the right agency for the right job? So it's important to have that information listed. So when you do get those calls, you know exactly what you're referring to.
Yeah, that's a good one. And let's take that a step back, right? Looking at as an interim or as a contractor, when you get approached for a job, put it on your spreadsheet or your Trello or Teal. So, for instance, you get approached by X agency for a role as a program manager, and this is the rate. Then you get approached by Y agency for the same role, and this is the rate. It's important to
Yep.
keep track of that. So, one, you can make sure you're not being put forward for the same role multiple times. And two, you can see which is the better agency that you should be rolling with, because they're taking less of a cut of your money.
That is so true. I've had recent experience of that where I was approached for one agency who didn't give me all the information. And so I took it at face value about what that rate would be. And then the next agency contacted me with the same information, or for the same role with more information. And that's when I discovered I could have been submitted at £200 more. So
Yeah.
it's
See?
important that you get all the information for all the roles, especially if you're an interim. Make sure you're getting, like I say, just all of the details to put yourself in the best position.
Exactly. So having a system to organize yourself and keep track is very, very important, because also you could be that they release that role 1 month, they pull it back, they say, oh, we're not recruiting again for it, and then the next month they're putting it out again. What have you said? What did you say in that initial application? All these things are important and help present you in the best way. So having a process to stay organized is very, very important. Now, what else?
Yeah.
Practical things, real life things that is going to help a person level up their job search right now.
I think there's something in terms of, we all know we're going to be interviewed. We all know that we need to, go through our practice questions, etc. But if you've got areas of weakness in your interview process, make sure that you are rounding those up and use this as an opportunity to fine tune those. So for me, it's always that introduction. Tell me about yourself. Use
Yeah.
this opportunity to make sure you've got that right. So you're not thinking every time in interview, okay, shall I tie it this way? Shall I tie it that way? It's your elevator pitch of yourself. Make sure any weaknesses you have in your interviews, you're using this opportunity to fine tune those elements.
Mm. No, that's important. This is the time when you need to work on yourself. I mean, we talk about it all the time. You should be in a state of continuous improvement and continual learning. But when you're on the job hunt, that's even more important in terms of investing in yourself and improving your skills. There's this guy, his name is Vinny. I will put his name in the description box, but he focuses on communication skills and public speaking. And what is an interview if it's not public speaking? And one of the skills that he talks about is improving how you come across, that you should record a 5-minute video of yourself and watch it back with no sound, and then watch it with sound, and watch it when you're just, all you're doing is looking at your body language, and that will then give you all the things you need to improve upon when you are speaking. I found that incredibly helpful way of improving how I come across. So I'll put a link to his name. Feel free to go and check out his video on that. He's got lots of stuff on how to improve how you come across. Now, one of the things that we do in Black in Projects is that we have sessions where we can run you through a mock interview to take you further in terms of, it's not just about CV prep. You've got the interview now. Let's do a proper, realistic interview staging to really pick up on those things that, unless you have it mirrored back at you, you just don't know this is what you're doing. You just don't know these are the areas that you need to improve upon. So feel free to click on the link in the description box if you would like to book a session with us where we can do some realistic interview prep with you. Now, Alina, what else? Because this whole video is about, we want to give you practical things to do right now to improve your job search.
I know we've mentioned this before. If you do go for an interview and you're unsuccessful, get feedback and work from that feedback. Getting feedback shows that you did have a real interest in a job, and it also demonstrates that you want to do better. But it also acts as a reminder to the person who's conducted the interview that you're still there if anything should happen and that preferred candidate falls through. In addition, getting that feedback can help you prepare very much for the next interview. And sometimes the feedback is that you haven't done anything wrong. That can also just act as a confidence booster. But get feedback where you can to help improve for the next role.
Yeah, exactly. And if there was ever a time to do all the little bits involved in job search, the time is now. So right at the beginning, when they say you can contact XY for an informal chat, contact XY for that informal chat. Because again, as Alina said, it's showing your enthusiasm for the role. You're also going to pick up some really good nuggets about what they're looking for that you can then put into your application and then put into your interview. You've had experience of doing this, haven't you, Alina?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was one particular position approximately 6 months ago where we were recruiting, and those candidates who had spoken to the main hiring manager, I could tell through that interview, they were a lot more prepared about what the role would involve. Their answers were more succinct. You could just tell they'd been given a lot of information by the hiring manager that put them definitely miles ahead of those candidates who hadn't asked. So it's really important to do. And again, it does put you a bit ahead because the hiring manager has already had some contact with you. So in a way, you've already started to develop that relationship with them. So it is really a key thing to do.
Indeed, indeed. And for those of you who have product thinking, now's the time to apply product thinking. You are the product that is out there to get a job. So we've talked about creating processes, but really you need to be ready to really analyze yourself, what you need to improve in your process, and make those improvements right now to increase your chances of getting the job. So kind of links now into the mindset thing. But when you are able to look at yourself objectively, so you have seen what they're looking for in the job, what is the gap between you and that job? What are you going to do to fill that gap? And how can you make sure that in the interview you are putting across the fact that, yes, you have 6 out of the 7 key skills. This is how you would tackle it. This is how they can be assured that you will be able to still do what they're expecting you to do. You know, you really have to get down to that nth degree, because right now, Elena, you said it, there's more people in the market. So it's about what are you doing to push you. All you need is that, just that tiny bit more than the person behind you, to make sure that you're getting the job. Let's talk mindset, Elena, because that's vital. Looking for a job is hard work.
Yeah.
It's mentally exhausting. What are the real things people can do right now so that they don't burn out? So that this doesn't turn into a whole horrible confidence trashing exercise.
I think when you're looking for a job, yes, it is full on, but you've got to remember to give yourself breaks during the day, to make sure that you're still doing things that you enjoy, and taking, whether it's going for a walk, etc. There's no point in spending 12 hours a day looking for that role. Let's be realistic about this. Give yourself time, but also give yourself time to concentrate on other things. That's if you're not working at the moment. Be realistic about how much time you're putting into your job search, because the more time you spend, that can also deflate you a bit as well. So make sure you're doing other activities if you're not working at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. And I think making it is a job in itself, looking for a job. So make a timetable for it. So Monday, you're giving it X amount of hours. Tuesday is your day off from looking. Wednesday, you're giving it X amount of hours. Put a timetable for it so that it focuses you, and you have proper breaks, isn't it, Elena? As you said, you've got proper breaks where you can step back from it, and also put in the learning activities that you're doing as you go along. So it needs to have its own dedicated timetable of what you're doing. So this is, on Monday, I'm focused on applications. Tuesday, I'm focused on sending out speculative letters. Wednesday is my day off from it. Thursday is a bit of applications, a bit of learning, whatever it makes sense for you. But you need to create a timetable that will let you do the volume required for a job search, and also let you have the downtime so that you can keep your head straight as you're doing it.
I was going to say, where you can combine the two elements, try to. So what I mean by that is, you've got to remember who you are, what you've done, the fact that you're more than capable of doing the jobs out there. So use this in your job search process. Contact some of the network people, the people in your network, I should say, that you have. Talk to them. Just give them a call. Find out what they're up to. But by having that conversation, you'll be putting yourself out there, finding out what is out there, but also hopefully by connecting with them, you'll also remember, you had a good working relationship. When you used to work together, this is what you used to do. It's a reminder of the fact that, you're more than capable, more than competent of doing the types of roles that you're going for. And so you're talking to someone and you're also pushing your job search forward.
Yeah, exactly. And for someone who is saying to you, Elena, I've been looking since the start of the year, I haven't gotten anything, I'm feeling so tired, what would you say to that person?
It's looking at, I think, how you frame things. Yes, you have been looking, and it's taking a long time. Part of it is knowing that there is something out there and something is going to come along. And it's also maybe taking the opportunity to look at, is what you're looking for actually what you want to go into? Are there different methods of sort of getting there, going in different directions? You've got to try to reframe the fact that you're looking for a new role in different ways that's going to spearhead you. Remember exactly why you're doing this, but also look towards as alternatives to trying to get that same job or get a job.
Yeah, exactly. So because this is very much a marathon at the moment, the job market at the moment, you have to have your plan. You have to not just be open to new ways of doing things. You've got to do the new ways right now. And you have to make sure that you're keeping your head straight on. And that should be part of your research. Understand yourself. What works for me? Do I feel refreshed after I've read a book, listened to music, gone for a walk, worked out? What is it that makes you feel refreshed so that you know and you're doing it regularly? Are there any particular podcasts that you listen to that make you feel encouraged, that gives you a confidence boost? You want to be doing that regularly. Are there people, your family or friends, that when you speak to, they give you a boost? Get in touch. Are there family members you need to stay away from for a little bit because they're always going down the negative path? These are all things that need to be part of your job search right now to make sure that in the next quarter, you're getting that job. Because the thing that I hear my mum's voice in my ear when I say this. She'll say, isn't it a human that's getting that job? So people are getting that job and you can be that person, but you've got to do these new things. There's nothing like, oh, that seems like a bit much. Yeah. And some other person is doing that bit much and getting the job.
Yeah. You've still got to be happy. You've still got to be confident, as wise. It's just going to affect the way in which the manner in which you apply for jobs and how you're going to show up. And we need to show up being the best possible version of ourselves as often as we can. And, that best possible version of yourself, on some days it's going to be 100%, on other days it's going to be 10%. But, whatever you've got to give that day is what you give. But put yourself in the best foot forward to do that.
Yeah. And Eileen, I think those, it might feel counterintuitive, but I personally have found it important and useful to remember that it is not personal and it is not a commentary on me and my personality if I don't get that job. It's vital for me to remember that.
Definitely.
It is not a commentary on me that I didn't get that job.
Yeah, definitely. There are lots of, in the ideal world, the best person will get the role. However, in the situation we're in, where there are lots of people out there who are looking for roles, we've got to be realistic from what we've seen from our experiences of hiring or being in the hiring circle. And unfortunately, nepotism still exists, especially in certain communities and cultures, which is why, on the other side, it's important to network. But like you say, it's a human who got that role. It's also a human giving that role. And unfortunately, things aren't things have never been equal, but we just need to put that out there as well. We know as a community there are, and unfortunately, it might seem negative and it might seem like, we're saying the things our parents used to say to us, etc. And things are, I believe, possibly getting better. However, we're not on an equal playing field, and sometimes we've got to take that into consideration as well, which is why we're doing this.
Yeah, exactly. This is why we're doing this, so that you can take these realistic steps and go forward. Don't be tired. Keep going. You're going to get that job, But I think I would say that there are things that I know now that I didn't know then, that obviously I wish I did know, so that I could, because once you know the game that you're playing, you know what you're doing, not that you came on the football, you thought it was the
Prepare
football
for
field,
it.
but yeah, but they're playing rugby. So once you know those things, you know how to operate, right? And then always,
Yep.
always keep yourself, um, keep your internal engine going so that you can keep going until you get that job. So right now, today, what Elena and I are saying to you, that you need to bring some new tactics into your job search. You need to get more detailed in your job search. You need to make sure that you're staying resilient in your job search. Get help that you need for your job search, but be resolved and believe in yourself that you're going to get that job.
Yep, definitely. And like we always say, reach out to people you know. Use your network. Use the network of your network.
Yeah.
Use the people you know and get help. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So we are here for you. As I said, the link is in the description. If you want to either do some interview practice, have a proper interview practice session, or if you want some more individualized coaching on what you specifically need to do to make sure that you get that job, reach out to us. We would love to help you get there, because once you get there, you're going to help somebody else get there. Good luck. See you out there.